Hi, my name is Elizabeth Foster, and I am the founder of Connect to Coach. And at Connect to Coach, what we do is we work with expert certified coaches, and we connect them with people that are looking for some help in their lives. And we have all kinds of coaches. We have career coaches, business coaches, sales coaches, all sorts of different types of coaches, and we have health coaches. And today we are joined by one of our most amazing health coaches. Her name is Barb Minemier. So welcome, Barb.
Hi, Liz. Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's so lovely that you could join us today. So I would love to find out, I mean, I know a little bit about you, obviously, but I would love to find out more about you. And I'd certainly love for the people that are watching and listening to this to find out about you. So tell us in a sentence, what is your specialty in coaching?
Well, my specialty is really educating and make people aware that the chemicals in our food is really what's driving their inflammation and is at the root of most of their ills.
So it's really, it's educating them to be healthy. Is that right?
Yeah, it's educating them that, we should not be counting calories. We should be counting chemicals.
Oh my God, I love that. Counting chemicals. And who would have thought that, and it's interesting because sometimes I look on the back of packets and I see all that stuff and I'm like, whoa, that can't be good for me. And what you're saying is actually, it really isn't in many ways.
No, it's not. I mean, most of them they're there for either flavor enhancers or produce longer shelf life for the food. And they are hormone disruptors, and they really interfere with people's ability to lose the weight that they work so hard to do.
Wow, that sounds really kind of scary, actually, in many ways.
Yeah.
So tell me, what actually led you to become a coach?
Well, I actually had a wake-up call in 2007. I was diagnosed with water around my heart. And it was the process that took me from one doctor to another doctor to another doctor. And I was put on 4 different medications. And that really struck me as a bit extreme because I don't take medications. And at the urging of a friend, I sought out an alternative practitioner who I worked with. He was an energetic healer and no medications. I worked with him. I actually went on to work with him as well and for him. And I really, at that point, learned a lot about the mind, body, spirit connection within us and how important that is for our health. And as a result of that experience with the doctors and then with him, it was the idea that I was put on all kinds of medications. It was such a contrast in treatment that really had me pause to really take a really good look at, what's going on here. And then from there, I went back to school and learned about nutrition.
I love that. And it's interesting because personally, I'm very much a person that's against medication. Obviously there's a time and a place for it, and sometimes we do have to take it. But if I don't have to, I'd always rather go to a holistic practitioner before I'd go to a Western, what I call Western medicine. But I also trained in acupuncture, so it's a little bit different. But I really hear you, and I think that having alternatives, being aware of those alternatives is incredibly important.
Right.
So who would actually benefit in working with you, Barb?
Well, I see people who have, like myself in the past, where you've tried everything that you hear about in the media, you read in the magazines, you've tried South Beach, this diet, that diet, Benny Craig, various companies, and I don't know if I should be mentioning names, but it is a fact, they're all out there, but everybody's trying all these different things, hoping that it will work for them. And what's happening is it's not, and they blame themselves for it. There must be something wrong with me that this is not working. And then they just go into that downward spiral of just shame and feeling bad. And, I'm here to let them know that it's not their fault. You know, big food is continually pumping our food supply with chemicals, pesticides, you know, whether it's for prolong the shelf life of foods or whether it's flavor enhancers, all of these things are at the root of our inflammation. And I just wanted to comment on something from before, Liz, that, you know, when you go to the doctor and you take a pill for your situation, it may calm your symptoms, but your inflammation is food driven. And if you don't change that, it's just going to keep going on and show itself somewhere else. Hello.
There we go. Well, these things are very interesting. They often come up in the what do they say? Big mistakes, small mistakes?
That was one of those, it's all true, Liz. It was the universe saying yes.
There we go. Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us what you actually do for your clients then.
Well, what I do when they come to me, we start out by, like, everyone fills out a food log for me before we even meet. And by looking at the food log, I can usually identify the culprits that are giving them the symptoms that they're having. And so we'll do something like, you know, I had one guy who liked to eat pasta 7 days a week. So it was like, okay, Louie, let's cut it back to 4, you know, like, and let's add some greens in. So I never tell anyone, no more of this, that's the end, because that only makes them angry. And they don't get to see the small successes that they do throughout the process. Mm-hmm. So if I give them, I just have them cut back on some things, add in others. And we do that very gradually so that they get to feel good about what they're accomplishing, because they are attainable goals, right? So they get to feel good about that. And then we do that, and then they get into a rhythm, you know, and then they then add in healthier things on their own, because now they're feeling better and they like the way they feel.
So can you share an example of one of the, one of the results from your clients then?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a client, Roseanne, who came to me, you know, to lose weight, but also she was suffering with hot flashes for 10 years. She had been suffering with hot flashes. So I was able to take a look at, and she's a vegetarian, so I was able to take a look at her food log and see that she was eating a lot of, you know, bean burgers, you know, these, you know, you buy them and you just mic them, whatever, and eat them. And in those foods it was loaded with soy. And, you know, soy is genetically modified, which is not a good thing. So it's loaded with pesticides and all kinds of stuff, chemicals. And so what I did was I took her off all soy. I said, let's stay away from the soy, because we also know that that can interact with estrogen as well. And after 2 months of working with me, her hot flashes have diminished by 95%. She'll have days where she doesn't have any, where she had days where she was having 20 and 25. So just by removing one ingredient in her diet, after 10 years, she's had this result, which is amazing. For her, she's like, couldn't be happier.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And what a great story. And I can imagine there's a lot of women that would be in a very similar position, you know, having those hot flashes and just, you know, then saying, well, you know, there's nothing I can do about it, when actually what you're saying is absolutely there's something you can do about it.
Yeah. But also too, Liz, I wanted to say that she also didn't know that she was bloated until she wasn't anymore.
That's so funny.
No, really, she had no idea that she was bloated. She would go on these walks and sometimes her hands would swell and her feet would swell, and she just assumed that was just a part of, you know, her now. And then as she went through this process with me, you know, she didn't have that experience anymore either. And her face went down, and it had been bloated from all of the chemicals and so forth in her body. And she didn't know she was until she wasn't. She says that to me all the time.
I think that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. So really, what gives you the greatest joy in coaching?
Oh, geez, it's really an emotional process for me as well as my clients. You know, when you have someone come into you, like I had a client come into me who, her name is Kim, and she came into me. She was 5'1" and 239 pounds, and very low self-esteem. Had been bullied as a kid, beat up in the bathroom. I mean, had gone through a lot of different things. And so we worked on her food, okay. Um, and as a result of working on her food with her, we got into some of the emotional pieces that drive, that have people eat for things other than hunger, you know. And also in her workplace, like she used to manage a group of people and she would think that nobody liked her. So she would go in her office and shut her door and shut herself off from people because she didn't think they liked her. So we started making changes in that. It was, and I thought, you know, well, maybe it works both ways. Maybe they think you don't like them because you're shutting off from them. So she had to go back in and open her door. I encouraged her to engage with the employees there. How was their holiday, so on and so forth. She started doing that. They started inviting her to happy hour with them. So she felt more a part of things. She joined the gym and she wasn't exercising at all. She won the Lose to Win challenge at the gym because she lost the most weight. She actually signed up for adult dodgeball. So someone of her size, to put herself in that arena, to be a target, to be hit, was huge for her. She took Zumba classes to become a Zumba instructor. I mean, this is a girl that would go on the internet and look for people that were her size and her weight just to see what she looked like. And she ate to be invisible. You know, it was one of them. I have to tell you, she worked really hard. She's lost over 50 pounds. She works out like a banshee. And also what she did was, excuse me, now it's my turn. Whoops, okay, no more. And so she works out all the time. She brings only healthy foods into her house. And she now has a voice at the table at the office, around the conference table when they have meetings, where she never had a voice before.
So you've really transformed her life, haven't you?
Well, you know what, Liz? She has. She's the
But
one.
you supported the transformation.
She did the work. I asked the questions, but she ultimately knew the answers.
There you go.
And I helped her. I guided her through the process. I held her hand and I was there for her.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what's one
I
of the
get goosebumps just thinking about it.
Well, I think she's a very lucky lady to have an opportunity of working with you, that's for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
So what's one of the most important things that people don't know about their health?
Well, probably one of the most important things is that they don't know that food changes everything. What we put on the end of our fork is either going to keep you healthy or make you sick. And you know, you'd be surprised, but a lot of people don't connect the dots between what they're eating and how they're feeling. They just think they have to go to the doctor, there's something wrong. And unfortunately, there are some cases where, you know, the doctors don't ask them about diet. So they then give them a prescription, and these are the people that I see. Okay, these are the people that go that route as well. Nothing changes and they still aren't feeling well. But I think that's really one of the key points, is that to really connect the dots between what you're eating and how you're feeling. And
Sorry, go on.
no, go ahead.
No. I was just going to. I didn't realize you were mid-sentence.
No, and then, as I said before, you know, that's a big part of what I do with them. Like, the food log is key.
Yeah.
The food log is the story it's the information that I need to make changes for them. And
that food log sounds fundamental for anybody wanting to have a healthy diet, a healthy life. And I can imagine just the food diet, the food log on its own is a lot of information, but actually working with you and the food log is actually, that's what really, that's how what we really do. So what is one of the most common mistakes that your clients make when they're dieting?
I think, as I said before, my whole platform is, count chemicals, not calories. And I think what happens is, most times, because we've been brainwashed to do that, you pick up magazines and it's like 1,200 calories, 1,500 calorie diets, and so on and so forth. And what people do most times, the biggest mistake they make, Liz, is that they'll read that nutrition label at the top that'll tell you how many calories, the serving size, how much fat, how much sodium. Nobody goes down the bottom to read that ingredient list, like what are the ingredients that are making up those calories? And therein lies all the culprits. You'll see things like, high fructose corn syrup, monodiglycerides, all these names that people can't pronounce and they have no clue what it means. So by the time my clients are done working with me, I'm in their head whenever they go to the supermarket. They're like, I am reading labels like I never did before. And they're like astounded at what they're reading.
So I'm kind of guessing that people can get quite baffled by those long, unpronounceable names. Like we have no idea. Monosodium this and triglycerate that and fructose and I would imagine there's a lot of overwhelm. It's like, how do you even know what is the good stuff and what is? But I'm guessing again, by working with you, you actually really educate people around what those those ingredients really do, and also the damage that they do.
Yeah, can I just give you 2 tips of 2 ingredients?
Super quick.
I have to, really quick. Okay, natural flavorings. It's everywhere, and it's like, okay, so if they're so natural, why don't you list them? But I've learned that what hides behind that name of natural flavorings can be up to 100 different chemicals, not all at once, but they hide behind that label and they are in your foods. Monodiglycerides is actually trans fat. It's an emulsifier. Like when you make cakes and you're mixing oil and water, they don't mix, right? So they add this into the food so that they will mix together, okay? But because it's looked at as an emulsifier and not a triglyceride, the food companies get away with putting that in your food as an ingredient because of that loophole, but it is a trans fat.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
That's really scary. So, what are the biggest offenders when it comes to from people, actually achieving their optimum weight? I'm assuming that what we've discussed, those are some of them, but are there anything else?
We talked about the chemicals and that's real. The chemicals and the pesticides, Liz. It's really, and the genetically modified foods. That is huge. And they're in so much, like corn and soy are the most genetically modified foods. And they are in everything because they're subsidized by the government. The farmers are paid to grow these crops. So we have an overabundance of them. So they're used as fillers, like, McDonald's burgers. They're fillers in everything. And if you look, I always urge people, go into your pantry, take out a box or a bag, read the ingredients that are in that, and you will always see corn and soy, always. And as I mentioned before, those are hormone disruptors, and they are a cause for inflammation in our bodies. And that's really, yeah.
That's incredible. So what are some of the most the valued ahas that your clients actually have?
Oh. Well, they get more energy than they ever thought was possible. Like they'll always say, and I run detoxes 3 times a year. I do cleanses with groups. And at the end, and it's a 2-week period, eating all real whole foods, taking out gluten, dairy, alcohol, caffeine, which for some is a deal breaker, as you can imagine, and the nightshade vegetables. And even at the end of 2 weeks, when they stick to this program, they are like, oh my God, I have so much energy. You know, their digestive tract calms down and their bloating is subsiding and their brain fog is leaving. They have much more clarity than they had before. And I think, you know, as I mentioned before about Kim, you know, it's not just about the food. You know, there's an emotional component in that. So I think along with feeling better, feeling more confident, they look good, getting their voice, is that they just evolve in so many areas. You know, it has a ripple effect in every area of their life, you know, and at the end, they're like, you know, I had no idea. Like they come in to not have to take medication and to lose weight, but they leave a totally different person.
I love that. I love that. I think that's so powerful that you can actually do that with your clients. So I just want to, I mean, we've found out a lot about you as a holistic health coach and as an educator for health, but I want to just take it a little on the personal side. I'd like people to know a little bit about you. So what is it, you know, what do you do to balance your life? Because what I see, you know, is that you work really hard and you're very passionate about what you do. But what about, but what do you actually do, you know, what do you do for fun?
Fun is the key word for me, Liz. I mean, my motto is if it's not fun, why do it? And fun is very important to me. I'm lucky that I have, you know, like 3 different groups of friends in my life, from high school to friends I've had since I've moved here like 25 years ago, friends I've met through my kids being in school. And we go out, you know, we go out to dinner once a month and we check in on each other and we're there to support each other, which is really also key in health, is having those primary foods, those relationships, knowing that there's people there that get your back.
So it's really having people feeding you as well
Oh
as
yeah, I need,
you. I
you
love
put me in solitude, I wouldn't survive because
well, let's definitely not do that. Let's definitely not do that.
I
So
need the solitude. So yeah, that's key for me.
yeah, no, I get that. So what are your goals? I mean, what are you aiming towards? I mean, you're a coach. We all know that coaching is about we set a goal and we get there. So what are some of your goals?
Well, you know, I want to be able to reach as many people as possible to get my word out. And, you know, I kind of look up to the food babe. She really, I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's an ordinary human being, just like you and I, who suffered from tremendous food allergies. She healed herself. And now she goes after corporate America and really sits on their front steps until they make change. And I would like to aspire to do that as well. Really hold these companies accountable for what they're doing to our health,
I
whether
love
it's pharmaceutical on that end or the big food companies.
I love that. And I think that's
Yeah.
so powerful. And I think it's so needed. Barb, thank you. Thank you. Is there a sentence, a couple of words of wisdom that you'd like to leave your watchers with?
Well, I would just like them to know that, you know, what you put on the end of your fork makes all the difference in your health and how you feel, and that you have the power to change it.
Oh my God, I love that. And you do. We all have the power to change. It doesn't matter what it is in our life, you know. And I think having the support of somebody who's an expert, as you are, highly qualified, and you've been through it, you know, you've experienced it. So I would highly recommend anyone thinking about hiring a coach to connect with Barb. You can do it through our website. She's a most amazing person, as you've just experienced, and we love her dearly. And Barb, thank you for coming in and sharing this time with us and educating us as well. I've really enjoyed it.
And thank you for having me, Liz. And I just want to mention, if anyone would like a laser session with me who has seen this video, to please, you can get my email off my website, yourhealthytruth.com. or my phone number and connect with me. Let's have a conversation. It could take one tweak or two tweaks could make all the difference in how you feel. And I'm happy to do that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much and take good care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.